Good afternoon. I'm Joe Fetterman with Colliers, Life Sciences Real Estate Advisors. And as we begin the 2021 season, we're talking today with John Nilon of JN Solutions. And John is in the talent game. And when we look at the fundamental cornerstones of what makes a life science cluster work, you've got the institutional research and discovery. You've got the funding, the venture, you've got the real estate, and then you've got probably the most important piece of all, which is the talent. So John, welcome. We're glad to have you here today, and we really look forward to talking to you about the talent side of life sciences.
Joe, thank you very much. It is really an honor to be here. I've seen many of these LabNotes presentations and some of the people who have been on this platform before me, so I couldn't be more grateful to be able to participate and be a part of this today. Thank you.
You're welcome. So John, your entree into the talent business sounds like it happened on a golf course.
It did. When I was in college, one of my ways to make money was to caddy. I caddied out at Stonewall and used that as a platform to network, which was how I first met some of the partners of what at the time was Raymond Carson Associates, which evolved to Connexa and is now part of IBM. So that was 1994. So a couple of years experience doing this now.
And how is it that you evolved into doing talent work in the life sciences arena?
Like many people in this space, I actually started my career recruiting information technology professionals. So first for 5 years at Raymond Carson, and then had always had entrepreneurial ambitions. So in 2001, had decided to embark out on my own and start my own business. But 9/11 happened, and that derailed a lot of the plans we put in place. And instead of being able to find people in information technology, I had to figure out how to sort of reinvent myself. And I was fortunate. Another firm that I knew had a need for help. They were doing a search to find a chief scientific officer and asked me to help them conduct that search. And that was really my introduction to life sciences. And I found I just loved the people. I loved the way the industry was trying to make humankind better by producing therapies and treatments for all sorts of different issues and ailments. And that was sort of the launching point for deciding to shift away from everything I'd built in information technology and learn the drug development world.
And John, what's the composition of the client types that you're working with today?
Yeah, we've worked with both large pharma, small biotech, and CROs, and our ideal customer base are going to be small companies experience some type of transition. So typically CROs or biotech or pharma companies, and they need a transformational leader, someone director and above who's going to help them achieve that next stage of growth or direction for their company.
So right in the center of an important process, you've got a company, a CEO or the C-suite that has identified talent requirements in the company and the pool of talent that's out there. And so these are really important decisions that these companies are making to find the right person to fit the need of the company. How have you been able to assist your clients in being successful in achieving the outcomes that they're seeking to accomplish?
We look at the customers and do a lot of deep groundwork to understand them. So we treat our company not as a transactional company or a sales organization, but more of as an education-driven organization, which means we want to get in there and really understand who our customers are, where they are, and more importantly, where they're going. So one of the biggest factors that we see impeding companies from finding the right people is one of the most common mistakes, where people will get together when they have realized or recognized that they have a need and want to go outside to hire, that they get the stakeholders together, they sit around the room and they come up with what their ideal candidate looks like. And it's pretty common practice. But what often happens then is they go through the process of finding somebody who checks those boxes and can't quite understand why they maybe have a 50-50 shot of success with many of those people. It's pretty common that 46% of hires will fail within the first 18 months. And so what we can do to help companies with that is we help them really peel it back and understand what the underlying business issues are and define success. So a couple of questions that we'll ask our customers early on is, help us understand what your true business's issues are. And how will you know, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months after you've brought in the right person, that they are the right person? What will they have accomplished? What does success look like? So now you're no longer trying to find somebody who checks the boxes, but you're finding somebody who presents the indicators that they're going to achieve that successful outcome. In addition to that, you want to know why somebody is doing what they're doing, because how somebody operates, why they do what they do is going to be more predictive of somebody's ability to succeed within the culture, the environment, the team that they're going to be joining than what they've done in the past. So that's just a surface level overview of some of what we introduce that really empowers our customers and educates them to make more effectual decisions about the talent and who they hire.
John, using that process that you've laid out for us, as you reflect back on some of the recent positions that you filled, what's a great success story? Tell us one that you were excited, you knew it was the right fit, you could tell, and boy, bang, success. They're off and running. It's a great fit. Everyone's winning.
Yeah, we had a project. It was originally VP of Regulatory, and I'm choosing this one in part because it's a local company. And the CEO had an idea of what they were looking for, and we looked at a number of candidates, and it just wasn't feeling like the right fit. And then someone was identified and brought him to the table, and both sides weren't quite sure, but we were able to really dig down deep and understand what the individual wanted to accomplish, what their career goals and ambitions were, why they were chiefly motivated. And over a period of what turned out to be a couple of months of really getting to know the CEO and getting to know the candidate and trying to bridge that gap through COVID, it became apparent that this opportunity was going to give them the bridge they needed to accomplish much of what they desired. So we were able to connect the why with the situation and really pull really pull off a coup that got in a top level individual who's been transformational in helping the company figure out how to achieve their goals and objectives and what programs to fund and develop and which ones to walk away from, which has made a huge difference in the direction of the company.
That's a great story. Thank you. We talked earlier a little bit about the fact that individuals' tenures at companies are contracting. And I want to come back and revisit that because I'm thinking this is not necessarily a product of bad matching. It has more to do with dynamics in the marketplace. Can you talk a little bit about that so that both employees and employers have expectations and understanding of the dynamic that you're observing in terms of how long talent tends to stay in one place these days?
Absolutely. And you'll hear me often say that with talent, and we're dealing with an endless array of variability because we're dealing with people. But there is a trend where the tenure that people are committing to their employers does seem to be shrinking. And one of the pieces of information that are coming from the ones we're talking to is that they're thinking about stability. They're thinking about their career. They're thinking about their future. And when they are making a move, it's because they see the move that they're making as shortening the runway or their trajectory to some type of success or exit criteria. And that criteria varies by the individual, but one of the more common ones, especially with the budding excitement surrounding cell and gene therapy is they want to be part of developing something that gets to patients. And if they can join a company that gets them to the patient faster, then they may be more likely to make the move if they see that runway being shorter.
John, that's really helpful. So, on a closing note, Colliers just produced our real estate market report at the end of last year. Let's talk about the talent situation in Philadelphia. What is the state of talent in Philadelphia? How well are we doing? Is it sustainable? Can we support the drug development companies that are in the pipe right now? What in a couple of key indicators, what are you seeing in the Philadelphia talent market?
You, Joe, are asking a question that a lot of people are asking right now, and it's not unique to Philadelphia. So what we are dealing with as a local community is demand for talent, especially in some of these more innovative scientific spaces, notably cell and gene therapy, that far exceeds the supply regardless of geography. So Philadelphia is competing with other markets that are asking themselves the same question. And for the region to be able to continue to attract talent, historically, some companies will try to pay people more or create short-term incentives that ultimately don't last. But what Philadelphia can do to continue to attract and draw talent and then keep them is continue to focus on building the local ecosystem. You and I have talked about the 4 pillars. Money, I think, is often the most important one. So as these local companies can continue to attract investment and developers are increasing the capacity for companies to grow here, that will just make it more stable, more secure for people to come to Philadelphia and work and feel as if they have the stability. Whereas if they do exit or their product is not approved, there are plenty of alternatives that are interested in bringing them on board.
Well, there's no doubt that we've got a lot of dynamic things happening. I mean, the Philadelphia cluster is alive and well. The investment that's happening here is growing year over year. The cost of living here is still very competitive to the other dynamic clusters. So, John, you're leaving me on a really positive note. Once again, I'm really excited about what's happening here in Philadelphia. Really appreciate your time today, telling us about and giving us some really good insights into the dynamics of talent search and the factors that CEOs and scientists have to consider when they look to pair up. So thank you. Thanks for being with us, and we look forward to talking again soon.
Thank you. And we're excited about what's happening in the local cluster as well, and can't wait to see where it leads. We're happy to be a part of it.